Starting recording. All right, so here we are. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so Cryptknotic does its Small Business Sunday, usually every other Sunday, and I was so stoked when you told me you were interested. How about you tell our viewers a little bit about your business and what you do?
Yeah, I would love to. And I'm so glad that you reached out to me also, and we were able to set this up. So my name is Oriana. I am a professional international belly dancer and instructor. I specialize in the Egyptian technique as well as Arabic folk dances from the Arab diaspora and the Arabic folkloric Gulf. I teach weekly classes online. I do workshops. I travel. I also write. I have a book out that was the first self-help guide for belly dancers. And I am the owner and curator of fanoosmagazine.com, which is dedicated to archiving belly dance stories and other pertinent issues in the MENA dance community.
Oh my God. You are just an overachiever.
A little bit. I'm definitely a type A personality.
I love it. Oh my God. So how did you get started in dancing? Because that's such a physical talent. Like you need to be, physically capable. It's almost its own form of athleticism.
Yes, I completely agree. Dance, there's there's always that joke is like, is dance a sport or an art? And it really is both. It really is a mixture of art and artistic decisions and artistic problem solving and expression, as well as the athleticism that goes behind rehearsing and constant practice. And when you get into something that's a folkloric based dance like flamenco, belly dance, Irish dance, you also get a living culture that goes with it. And you really must understand the language, the culture, the nuances, the different musical types. So that is definitely a lifelong passion of mine. I started about 15 years ago when I was in college. So I had never danced before. I was never that kid that took ballet classes. I was an
Oh
art
my
major.
God.
Yeah, I never ever stepped foot in a dance class until they were offering free classes in my school gym. And I decided to try it. It was free, and I was very out of shape, but I'm not a gym rat. So I was really looking for something that was more fun and more interesting and would keep me committed to movement. And because I was an art major already, I fell in love with the music and the culture and the language, and the rest is history.
Oh my God. So, just random trivia because I love throwing in trivia. For something to be considered a sport, there just has to be a scoring system. So if you're doing something competitively, it is totally a sport. I'm sorry, I'm just full of random Wikipedia nonsense. It's kind of one of my quirks. So when you decided to really make this a business rather than just, one of your passionate hobbies, how did you go about doing that?
That's a really, really good question. I wouldn't say I dove into the deep end right away. I had probably been studying for about 7 or 8 years, which is a little bit longer than most people do when they decide that they want to teach or they want to perform professionally. I was more of like a serious hobbyist. And I found that people kept asking me to teach, and they kept asking me to give my knowledge because I had been so invested into the academic side of the dance and the cultural aspects, which unfortunately, a lot of times when we see people teaching folkloric dance classes, they may not be getting into the culture as much with their students because they're afraid of losing people in the minutia of the more complicated issues that might be in the background of it. So little by little, I kind of felt like, okay, I have something here that I need to share, and people do want this. And I'm also extremely body positive. I've always been considered a plus size dancer, even though I'm not really plus size. So that also drove me to create classes and performances and spaces for everybody to feel comfortable. And there was really a need for that.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Absolutely, for sure. And it's kind of sad that there isn't more spaces, but I was able to do that. And I started little by little, just teaching here, teaching there, teaching privates, doing as many performances as I could. And it just grew and grew and grew. And I've added over the years things like writing, now online classes because of the pandemic. And I kind of go wherever the need is.
Okay. So, what are some things that someone might, like, you might want someone to know if they're considering getting into dance or taking a class?
I would say my number one thing that I hear from people is I'm afraid of taking class because I'm going to look like a fool. I'm going to look like I don't know what I'm doing. Or I hear a lot of people, both men and women, say, I'm not thin enough. I'm not in shape enough. I'm not young enough. And, the really good thing about folkloric based dances, as well as any dance, really, is that you can start at any age, at any level, at any fitness level. And, there's no judgment from me. Like, as long as you are showing up to class, there's a lot more adult dance classes than there used to be. You don't have to be a competitive dancer or even have an ambition to be a professional dancer. You can do it to have fun. It's great to relieve stress. It burns more calories than you think, but that's not even the emphasis. It's just to be happy and have joy.
So, if someone wants to know more about where to find you or how to get started with classes with you, where can they go?
The easiest place is my website. It links to all of my social media as well. Oriana, bellydancer.com. Oriana, bellydancer, all one word.com.
All right, I will make sure that when I post this that I include that link. Oh my God, this is so great. So what made you decide that you wanted to do this interview?
Just, I don't know. I love talking about it. I love supporting small business too. That's one of my huge primaries in life, is that I support other artists. I support other small businesses. And, sometimes people don't know that classes like this exist unless they hear about it. Usually people get to see a belly dancer maybe once or twice in their life because they're in a restaurant that has one.
Acropolis.
Yeah, I used to be at Acropolis.
Love Acropolis.
Yeah. Or they've gotten to travel. I've met some people that were stationed in Gulf countries, or they got to take a trip and they saw a dancer on the cruise, but they don't know everything that goes behind it and how to actually take lessons in it. It's sort of something mysterious that people kind of know about, but they don't get much more information. So I'm happy to share that, as well as anything about the culture that gets misrepresented or sometimes fetishized. So I love giving that information.
So where would someone possibly have seen folkloric dance before, apart from in a restaurant?
Apart from in a restaurant in this country, the best place to really see it in person is multicultural festivals. I just did one yesterday. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations in Tampa and across the country that will give opportunities to Native dancers and anyone who is studied and expert in an indigenous form of dance. I've personally gotten to see some dances that I didn't know exist, like Peruvian or different styles of Hawaiian that are outside of hula. There's a lot out there. YouTube is a great resource, of course, but there's a lot of belly dance communities in the country, and a quick Google search will get you there.
What are some other dancers or types of dance that you admire that inspire you in your profession?
Wow, that's a great question. Other dancers in my field, I'm very connected to the Egyptian culture. I go to Cairo to teach, so I'm constantly inspired by the dancers that I see there, both professional and non-professional. I love seeing the regular people dance the folkloric dance. That means a lot to me. Outside of my field, I do love watching the flamenco dancers. I love, seeing some of those similarities as well as how they are in tune with the music. And I really love watching African dance. Like, I just saw West African dancers yesterday, And seeing some of those similarities between that dance is very interesting.
Okay. Wow. So your profession, you get to travel. That is
Yes.
so cool. So do you get like an invitation to teach, or how does that work?
Yes, I was invited. I was working with some Egyptian dancers. We were working on some online workshops to try to bridge that gap between this country and Egypt in terms of people being able to study with native dancers and native teachers from Egypt. And they saw me dance, and all of a sudden I get this message, hey, do you want to come teach?
Wow, that must have felt good.
I almost drove off the road. I was driving to go get takeout, and I was like,
Brilliant. Oh my God. So we can see belly dancing at Acropolis. We can see flamenco at the Colombian, but I don't think there's anywhere just basic entertainment wise where I've ever seen African dance in that sort of setting. So that must be really special.
yeah, they do sometimes have shows. Pre-pandemic, there were more shows, but there's a couple local. I saw Kumba dancers yesterday. They're one of the biggest troops in the area, and there's a few small teachers like Natasha Zamora is Kenyan and Haitian, and she teaches a lot of Kenyan dances. So it is out there. There is a great international community in Tampa. It's just finding those venues and finding those places where people are going to be interested and will understand, because sometimes folkloric based dances are not as flashy, or people
Right.
do not know what they are looking at. Like if I do a Rocky dance in the middle of a restaurant, people are going to be like, what is this? So it's having that knowledge and that appreciation to do it. But I do find that more and more people are interested in that.
Okay, so maybe we should be trying to bring this to more attention by just doing folkloric dances in clubs. Then people will know what they're looking at.
I mean, I belly dance to everything. I don't know about anybody else, but I can't help myself.
But that's great. That means you're passionate about it. So, when you started your business, was that pre or post COVID?
It was definitely pre. I've been teaching, I want to say, for about 8 years in studios, fitness centers, private lessons. I had a professional troupe at one point for about 4 years, and we were the only professional troupe in Tampa that was doing paid theatrical performances that were strictly Middle Eastern dance. So we had that opportunity, and I created that opportunity for people to do the genuine, African, or I should say sub-Saharan, Menot, Hellenic, Middle Eastern dance in those styles, and created an actual venue for that to be showcased. Post-COVID, I would say the only difference has been everything has gone online, of course. Things are starting to pick back up. I just did an in-person show at the Multicultural Festival yesterday. But my classes are now online, and we've done a lot of online performances, which has been really interesting to experiment with.
So, how does that work? Are you recording yourself dancing, or like in a chat room, or how does that work?
I've done both. I have a good friend, Nazana El Razan, that has been doing live belly dance shows, strictly belly dance, almost every weekend. And everybody shows up in a Zoom room, and you are dancing live like you would be normally. And it's being broadcast as well as recorded in that chat room, a lot like this setup. And what's great about that is that we've been able to have these online shows with people from all over the world. So it has put all of us in contact with so many different people and artists and inspirations, and really actually enabled better communication within the community.
Wow. So, you decided that you wanted to start this and be a business owner. Are you the owner or co-owner, or?
I run my own classes, and I co-own Deluxe Dance Online Studio with my friend Sheba, Queen of the Night, who does
I have
burlesque.
been in touch with her. She's
Yeah.
wonderful. And I
Yes.
think she might even be my next interview.
Yay, good. She is another awesome entrepreneur. She does so much too. You'll see a lot of similarities between us.
So what was that like starting a business with a partner? Obviously there has to be a lot of trust there, but how did that go in terms of forming Deluxe?
I'm going to be honest, it was a snap decision. The pandemic hit. Every studio that I was teaching at just could not survive, of course. It was too much. And I had been working with Sheba for shows, and we had already been friends. And she just messaged me one day and said, "Do you want to teach online? Like, why don't we just do a thing?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." And that was it. That's literally been it. And we've just formed it as we've gone. I built the website. We built the social media for it. We contacted other teachers, asked if they wanted to teach. And we try to run it as simply as possible. If you want to teach on the platform, we take nothing out of your pay. We want to support you. And here's the Zoom link. You pick a time and you're up and running. We wanted to give a good platform for people during the pandemic to try to support them as much as possible.
So are physical classes now going on or not yet?
Not yet. Not yet for me. To be perfectly frank, sometimes finding studios that will be willing to offer Middle Eastern dance can be a little difficult. A lot of times people think that it's something that it isn't, or it's more like burlesque, or it's more racier than it is, so they might not find it appropriate for their dance landscape that they have in their studio. I recently did a really good workshop at Nishida Studio up in Lutz, and they offer everything from dance fitness to pole fitness. So she was totally fine with it, and we had a wonderful experience. So I will be looking for more of those opportunities, but for right now, teaching online weekly has really worked out for me, and I'm able to record videos for students that need it, as well as get students from different parts of the country and the world in different time zones.
Okay. I think it's great that you're doing all these events and festivals, and we would be happy to promote these events on the Cryptknotic page so people know where to come find you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
Hey, my God, this has been so great. My goodness. So what I'd also like to do is add Deluxe as a discount code for Cryptknotic so people can get 20% off when they go visit your page.
Yes,
Or
that
your
would be
website
perfect.
or any of that. So yeah, I would love that. So starting now, once I post this, our new discount code for 20% off, DELUX. Go check it out. Please go follow her page. Check out the website. It's so important that we help small businesses, especially in this difficult time. And people need to know about Deluxe. They need to know about Oriana. And pretty soon they're going to be finding out about Sheba. So that is so exciting. Thank you so much for letting me have you on.
And thank you for having me. It's very exciting. And yeah, I can't wait for you to talk to Sheba.
All right. Thank you everyone for tuning into Small Business Sunday. I am just going to hit the stop record button, but I'm not going to let her go just yet because I have a little more to talk to her about in secret. So once I post this on YouTube, I hope you guys share it, subscribe, and let's leave some comments and find out more about how we can support small businesses and getting into dance because that is fantastic. So I'll see you guys next time.